Hi, Diwal'Oween fans. Today we're going to talk about distribution and marketing aspects of this project. And I just wanted to thank everyone who supported us for so many years with your follow, like, share, and who came out to the screenings. It's become an evergreen project and we do screenings every year now. When I was in pre-production on Diwal'Oween, I found a graphic designer named Aditya Yuda on Instagram, and we went back and forth. He was in Indonesia. He had done a NASA poster contest. He had a lot of dark purple, black, and orange colors in his color scheme, and I thought it really went with Halloween. So then I asked him to incorporate some of the elements of the kids we had already filmed, and we came up with this really cool poster design. And I asked him, like, can you put the couple kissing in one side and the dog and the dia, and then these are like spooky Halloweenish figures. So I had the graphic design, I set up the Facebook group, and then when we were casting, I bought a $5 ad, and then I put in the search words on Facebook. Now they've totally changed everything, but this was, years ago. So I put in Diwali, Halloween, South Asian, certain comedies, sitcoms that were popular at the time, and then we got 45,000 followers in the first week. And if you think about Diwali and Halloween, like 45,000 is really nothing, but that put us in a micro influencer category on social media. And then I could look at the demographics and I saw, like, oh, we have a big following in Indonesia. So then I submitted to festivals in Indonesia. We ended up winning 4 or 5 awards just there in different regions. And obviously India, North America. I could pick out specific regions like the United Kingdom also. Nepal was a big one that I didn't think about, but that we got a lot of followers from. Bangladesh also, we got a lot of followers from there. And then I could also see the demographic breakdown of who our followers were. So now it's been a few years, so our follower count has dropped to 37,000. And then, I look at the engagement on the posts also. During the festival circuit, initially I wasn't getting into any festivals, and then I realized, oh, I haven't finished my sound mix. So I did my own sound mix in Premiere, and then I used the festival screenings kind of as a test audience. So we did a lot of the web series festivals that included a pilot category, and then some film festivals that had either as a feature or a short film. While we were on the festival circuit, I set up the Instagram and the YouTube, and then I would post like every time we were in a new festival, where it was playing, posts from the festival and that type of stuff, or any other major updates. And then I worked in distribution years ago, and I used to be a buyer for short films for a startup of Universal. And then I was also at Center for Asian American Media doing documentaries and feature film, short film marketing for the San Francisco Asian American Film Festival. Also I had founded Third Eye in San Francisco, so I was already tapped into the South Asian American audience that had grown a lot. So I had a background in all of this type of stuff, and I also understood the contracts because I used to be the buyer. That was another thing. So it's just like, what is indie? What is a web series? And I mentioned I didn't play the A-list Oscar qualifying festivals, but once I saw some of the lists, it was like, oh, this 75-year-old Academy Award winner has a so-called web series playing at this very A-list festival. Like, why do they even accept other people who are up-and-comers in the application process if they already know that's what they're actually doing? Studio releases, soft release, or premieres for studios. So that's like the back end of the industry system. At least you get your work watched for the next time when you have a more high profile project, I guess. And the main thing was also that I was trying to just put out a new work sample. I had a funny idea and I wanted to submit more for getting reps and submitting for television jobs. So I did get a lot of meetings and second round meetings for directing ancillary content for some major children's networks. We made a pilot, we made a web series, we made a short or feature, whatever category it is, for less than 1/10 of a regular sitcom episode. In terms of my own portfolio, it shows that I can work with children, animals, professional adult actors, newcomers. It shows my range, and if you give me budget, what I could do. It was really amazing to watch it with an audience finally, and then see, oh, people are laughing. I didn't think they would laugh so much at this part or that part. So that was really fun to see what resonated with people, and that you make something and people actually like it, because you're sitting by yourself in a hole and you're like editing by yourself quietly, and you don't really know until you show it. So I found my audience in that whole process. But being a buyer and then being the seller at the festival, I had a totally different experience, because as a buyer, people would chase me into the bathroom and, they would see my name tag and the color of it and chase me into the bathroom. And then as a seller, I had to pitch myself and like get in line with everybody else. And also, I learned a lot because I didn't have any stars. Like initially, I tried to get some social media stars in the casting process, but I ended up like working with a lot of friends, and it was really fun. But unfortunately, it's not Shah Rukh Khan who's gonna sell your film for you or something like that, or even some of the YouTube stars. So that was a learning curve for me. And in terms of the business side of it, I put everything online. Well, I had a password protected screener on Vimeo. And another thing that happened was we got a pirate in China. So somehow our previous cut was already released. And even my accountant one day was like, oh, I saw your movie. And I'm like, how? It's not released. It's on my hard drive. Where did you see it? And he's like, oh, I can't tell you. So I was like, that's money. What are you talking about? You should tell me where you saw it. So I did all these screenings around the world, around the country. I didn't attend all of them. I attended ones that I could. And some of them, like Seoul in South Korea, Webfest Seoul, they have a distribution division where they would acquire the web series if you're interested and release it in Korea. I knew like for Facebook we're in a micro influencer category, but I wasn't really sure how to fully use Instagram. So I ended up taking this class. This is Abu Fofana. He has a marketing group called Power Your Launch, and he has also done social media marketing for Pepsi and a lot of other brands. So the group was like a lot of women of color and entrepreneurs. One of the other women in the group was the founder of Fashion Nova, and they started on Instagram and ended up being a multi-million-dollar business that was basically startup at home. Another woman sold hijabs, and she just had like a very simple website with hijabs in different colors, and her products sold really well because she was tapping into an audience that didn't have a mass market the way they wanted to. So these kind of businesses, cater to women of color or underserved markets. So I thought, well, also I had founded Third Eye in San Francisco. So I was already tapped into the South Asian American audience that had grown a lot. And I had ties in the subcontinent also, just through Third Eye and other avenues, having worked there for several years after film school. I put together in Abu's class, it was like a mini MBA or something for your small business. And I put together the sales goal. And this was based on my own sales, working at Universal startup, the kind of hits and viewership that we used to get and also Center for Asian American Media, because we got funding from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting to release 10 documentaries as a slate after 9/11 nationally on PBS, and also a United Nations grant to get them into 3,000 classrooms. And also, I used to do that marketing myself direct to the consumer at library conferences and things like that. So I felt like I understood the educational market, the TV market, and the public media market, because this is a children's content. And I had also seen so many other filmmakers through the festival circuit. So, like, The Debut was an amazing Filipino teen movie. It was totally indie, but they ran ads on MTV. So, kids thought that they were a huge blockbuster teen pop movie, and they did really well in sales. So with this was my goal for 3 months. I had different categories like corporate, college, and library. And I thought with direct marketing, I could, make 100 sales, 1,000 sales, 100 sales in November. October is our main sales period. And now Halloween actually starts in July. Like, you'll see the jack-o'-lanterns and all the lamps and stuff like that selling in the home goods store in July. So this was even off because people now put skeletons up year round, or they start in August, Labor Day, September, or July. Then the EU TV license, I had gone to the Cannes Short Film Corner, and the going rate was 20,000. So I really wanted a TV sale because it's a TV hour. Like, especially French television at the time was paying 20,000. Now, I learned that I didn't have a highbrow Academy qualifying festival. So that was a problem because I had shot it like a pilot, and that was more of what I was going for, was the pilot web series, networks, and festival run. I didn't think I would be like playing Cannes or Berlin or something like that. So anyway, I learned that lesson. And then the US TV local station license is also 5,000. And I thought, wow, there are enough South Asians in the country that I could easily sell from the entire country to 30, 10, and 5, the monthly breakdown here of sales for local TV license. So I was like, how am I going to do that? And then I was like, how come these really super low budget 1-hour shows go on cable, and even CBS, NBC, Saturday morning, Sunday morning when the kids shows are on? There are clearly these paid for advertiser friendly shows, family content. Again, that's what I have, family content. So one meeting at Sony India at their US office, they said, well, if you find a sponsor, advertising sponsor, we can do a broadcast, and you should add 3 minutes. So it's a 43-minute TV hour. Some of the producers and post-production supervisors I talked to had never heard of a TV hour because they don't work in television, or they don't work in ad-supported television. They're looking at theatrical 90 minutes enough. So then I had to go back, and even after the whole festival run, I shot an additional 3 minutes, which is the farm scene, and we reshot the car scene, and then there's the couple feeding each other sweets in the sweets shop. So that was the additional 43 minutes. Also at the time, Norman Lear had just launched his own pilots on Sony US. So I was like, oh, Norman Lear's like the king of sitcoms, so maybe they're looking for content, family content. And then I had a 43-minute cut, but it was really hard to find an advertiser because Diwali wasn't really being embraced. So I've actually watched the whole Diwali commercialization, American capitalist holiday of Diwali happen, where suddenly all the brands started, and we even were reaching out to Scholastic and, made a whole list of children-friendly brands that may want to support Diwali and do advertising. And at the time, none of them did. But then over the years, they started releasing like Peppa Pig's Diwali on Scholastic books. And I went to CVS and suddenly I saw like Mad Lib's Diwali edition. And then the mayor's office in New York started having a Diwali party. So I saw like Diwali happen, and the fireworks started selling at the local supermarket during Diwali. Target had Diwali specials on their website. Costco suddenly had a Diwali section. So this just happened over the last couple of years. And in a sense, we were ahead of the curve. Then the actual Diwal'Oween happened last year. So again, we were ready with the content there. I had to figure out like, well, how am I going to get a sponsor and how am I going to get a broadcast? So I was like, okay, well, this isn't working in terms of a sale to French television. We're kind of lowbrow children's comedy, but we play well with an audience, like a mainstream audience. They laugh a lot. So I found this guy who's the infomercial king, and he got some of the Christian evangelists on television back in the day. Like Miss Cleo was one of his clients, the Psychic Friends Network. He used to package movies for the Saturday afternoon local TV networks. He gave me a directory of all of the local regional channels in the entire country by population. And then I found this New Pages is a library and independent bookstore. They have a mailing list also. So a lot of novelists, independently published books will sell through there. And they also had all of the public libraries in the country. When I worked at CAM, we used to actually buy those lists. And this was like $25 or something as compared to buying the mailing labels. I also considered buying the mailing labels from the American Library Association, but I'm glad I didn't. And I considered sending them all postcards and stuff like that, but I'm glad I didn't because I would have had to do like more fundraising for that and whatnot, just for marketing. So then going back to this projected goals, revenue goals, then the airlines license, I thought I could sell to some airlines. Amazon downloads, 5,000, I thought was no big deal. And then I had a bunch of merchandise. So I would have, according to this, made a lot of money. And then I thought, even if I make 10% of this, I will be able to pay back the costs and pay SAG, pay royalties to the musicians, like pay my crew some points off the back end. But what happened when we went into sales was this whole plan flopped. And I knew it's ambitious, but we started sales going into the lockdown year, and the libraries had moved all their funding into COVID glass, all that type of stuff, and there were rolling closures in every state. So I had 4 interns who were remote that year 2020, and they were going through all of those lists and calling all these libraries and colleges, and it was like, oh, our state is closed this month, oh, our state is open this month. Like, it was hard to even keep track of who was open and who was closed and what town was open and what town was closed. It was a bit chaotic. And then I had also done some corporate screenings, which were even remote. And what happened was I ended up increasing the price for this category. So this became $150 just for the DVD alone. And then if they wanted to do an event, then it's like $1,500. And finally, the library screenings were great. That was really fun, connecting with people all over the country, and especially the kids who are super into Halloween. We also screened it for some senior centers, and sometimes the seniors were actually scared of the Halloween masks and stuff. So that was like really funny but cute and sad and whatever. They enjoyed the romance aspect of it also, and it's sort of a clean cut Halloween, not a gory Halloween. When everything reopened, we ended up doing all of these craft parties around the country, and that was kind of like outreach to the community and direct to the audience, because libraries, people bring children, and then we would do crafts and a screening. And I got to see how they celebrate Diwali all over the country. Like, we were in California, in Detroit, there are different climates, different communities. Some of them had really small populations. Some of them, like Edison, had a huge population of South Asians. Diwali has also become a mainstream holiday now in terms of schools getting off. So we also saw that whole phenomenon start with New York State, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and some other places around the country starting to get Diwali as a school day off. So that was pretty cute and fun. That was also like our generation, Gen X, getting those holidays and pushing stuff for their own children to be able to celebrate in school. That was a new phenomenon, and it kind of tied into the whole DEI experience. We tapped into the audience, our own audience, and that was really the biggest payoff, like watching it with local audiences around the country and kids who are, when we were kids, we never had a Diwali party at the library. And now some of these even smaller towns have 3 or 4 Diwali parties. Like, every different group in town has a Diwali party, and the library has a party, and the town has a party. So that was pretty cute to see the explosion of the younger generation, and that they can celebrate these things at school or at the library openly and have a lot of fun. So that was the main goal of it anyway, in terms of the audience side of it. So this is all to say that this revenue goal was a flop. And we did make revenue, but it wasn't that much. And I still keep holding out that maybe we'll get a corporate sponsor or an airline sales. And I still recently got a contract for some distributors, and I recently got in touch with some airlines. So it's just a matter of finding a buyer, really. Meanwhile, I was like, we can still get views online. So I released the project just on the website, on our Diwal'Oween website. And so it was free to watch. So we got a lot of views that way. Then I put it just for a family purchase here. The sales on the website come straight back to me instead of a third-party provider. And I can change the price or open it for free, in October or November if I want to, or later in the year. Like this last year, we had a fee for our high season for September, October, November, and then I just opened it up for free after that, and people still watch it. So it is evergreen content. Even now I get offers. Like, I just had 2 offers for distributors. I had submitted it to Netflix through LinkedIn cold calling. Like, I don't have a rep. So that was a little weird because, generally they don't take content like that. And then I was still trying to get press, because that was another thing. I understand how all of that works. So then I joined this other group for Gloria Chu's PR for small businesses. So again, this is a lot of women entrepreneurs. She teaches people how to pitch press for holiday gift guides. And this was a new holiday, like I told you, as far as branding went. And so she had invited the BuzzFeed editor for holiday content. And the editor, I pitched our story in that meeting and sent her a follow-up email. And she ended up putting us in BuzzFeed's top Diwali content. So that was really awesome. And we got some national exposure that way. Here, top 35 South Asian owned businesses to support in honor of Diwali. So that was really amazing and worth the experience of pitching, And I also got to figure out like how to consolidate my pitch and everything. We were here in mention number 23. So that's to say, like, even if you don't get a huge buyer, you can still get attention. Like, even my neighbor was like, oh, I saw your project on the BuzzFeed list, and she's not South Asian, so you never know who is watching it or reading these things. And so that was really awesome, and it was a new holiday that they were promoting. I mean, new for America that they were promoting. And some of these are pretty big brands. Like Deep Foods is a huge South Asian brand. So it was really cool to be mentioned with them and some other smaller local brands. So another thing that changed in those couple of years, like when I used to be a buyer, we would give people an upfront fee like 500 to 50,000 depending on their profile and where the film had played and how long it was and who was in it and stuff like that for short films. But the streamers started to disrupt everything. So when we started, I was on the SAG New Media agreement, which I considered a web series agreement. Like Lily Singh or something at the time was shooting in her living room. You know what I mean? She didn't have a TV show. Aquafina was just running around with her friends making rap videos. They didn't have like a deal yet. But the agreement was basically for House of Cards, like $1 million an episode. The streamers completely disrupted that whole roadmap for people to get their revenue back. So that was, part of the SAG and other union strikes. But for the educational market, which also used to be the secret backdoor revenue for independent filmmakers, where you could get an educational license at a library or college and they would pay higher for a DVD or a digital version of your film and for a guest appearance and stuff like that. The streamers really disrupted that. So we worked really hard making all these calls to all the libraries, and then this was my market research, and I found out that a lot of them use just one or two distributors. Like Midwestern Tapes was basically the last old school DVD distributor, and Canopy is the main streaming service now. So a lot of the libraries had cut their video budget altogether. So whereas before they would be paying $150 for just one DVD, now they're like, oh, just get yourself on Canopy. So after a year of making phone calls, I finally got a contract from Canopy, and it was like 4 cents a stream or something like that. So I was like, how am I gonna make my money back on 4 cents a stream, or pay my actors SAG health fees or whatever I have to do every year? So that was a real bummer. I don't know why these tech companies hate money for creators. They keep it all for themselves. And even the Netflix rate at the time, or even other major household name streamers at the time, their going rate for a established, pretty famous director from India was 50,000 on like a $3 million feature or even a series buyout. So some of the projects that got really high profile Emmys and whatnot initially from the Indian market were actually financed by private people. Like Delhi Crime season 1, for example, was actually an indie, and then they took it to Netflix and did a series buy after they shot it all. So that's quite a risk. And there were one or two series like that where they had independently produced the whole series and then sold it. So that was a real bummer. That why do they do this, and now you see those same people are in the government defunding PBS, which was another great revenue source for independent documentaries or children's content, for example. They just don't value these things. That's also tied into free speech. That's a different issue, but still it was like, oh, we don't really get South Asian content. Like Mindy and Bridgerton and all that stuff was yet to come when I was taking this out to the market. And then also we were screening at international festivals. So even in India, where Diwali is big, then my actors have American accents and they don't celebrate Halloween there. You know what I mean? Like Halloween is just starting now. So that was another challenge, kind of being ahead of the curve. Getting a sale in India was also challenging because at the time they only wanted domestic Hindi language content, and mine was in American English. and it wasn't in that doom, 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 like, you know, soap opera style of Indian television that whether it's a comedy or a drama, historical show, it's all like boom, 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 that whole style, if you know what I mean. So we were kind of an outlier in all of this. And what I really want to do is learn how to pirate my own project because they can make millions of dollars using robots and AI. That would be awesome. If anyone out there can teach me piracy, how to pirate my own project and make money off of it, that would be awesome. So that is the basic rundown of distribution and marketing. And I think that is it.